The Maruti Suzuki Baleno is here to take on the big selling premium hatches. A slew of new programming coming your way on Auto Prime. And the Mahindra Mojo has been launched at 1,58,000 rupees. We have the review. Here on CNB, we've always promised to bring you the very best, and we've been doing it for over 1 decade. In October, we're celebrating our 12th anniversary, and we always celebrate in style, isn't it? Welcome to a brand new show with a brand new episode, because you've seen our new look that we're debuting for you on the program today. And along with that, we also want to tell you that we recently went past the 600th episode. That's a huge milestone for us. The whole team is very excited. And so, of course, like I said, we celebrate in style. So you'll see what that's all about in just a bit. But first, let me not keep you away from the Maruti Suzuki Baleno. A premium hatch coming from Maruti finally. Lots riding on this car for the company and, of course, for the market too. It will take on the Hyundai i20 and the Honda Jazz. Here is my review. The most important car launch from Maruti Suzuki in a long while, that is the Baleno. The Baleno will be made primarily in India, and eventually Suzuki sees it selling in 100 markets. The Baleno is being launched with 3 drivetrains, the 1.2 petrol in manual and CVT avatars and the 1.3 DDIS diesel manual. I have now driven all 3 cars, and the first impression is that this is an ample and spacious hatchback. The Baleno looks contemporary but not cute, sensible but not stylish, relevant but not ravishing. The higher trim variants do look better, as they have a smattering of extra chrome, 16-inch alloy wheels instead of the 15-inch rims, a better designed headlamp cluster and LED daytime running lights. The sides of the car look like it must be the longest in its class, but the fact is that the wheelbase is shorter than the Jazz and i20s at 25-20mm. The rear quarter glass sits after the rear door's shut line, and this enhances the sense of space and airiness inside the cabin, and that's very smart. So we can keep wondering why Maruti, or in fact Suzuki, didn't spend a little bit more time trying to make the car look really drop-dead gorgeous. But there are good bits. The impression of length along the side, as I've already mentioned, and at the rear is where I think you have the nicest angle to view this car from. It does look very modern and contemporary at the back. And then we come to the name. Can I just put this out there? Please stop calling it Baleno. It's not Baleno, it's not Baleno, it's Baleno. The cabin is roomy, and that is thanks to an intelligent layout and design. The i20 and Jazz also seem spacious, but the Baleno manages to come across as generous. The treatment is all black, and the quality of materials is good. The amount of space in this cabin is the Baleno's trump card. You get a tremendous sense of space besides the actual physical space itself. Excellent legroom and very nice headroom as well. That sense of space, as I've been saying, because of all the glass element and a slightly lower windowsill without that rising belt line, I think really works. You do have ample number of bottle holders and things like that around the car. The thing that I would have liked to have seen, if I want to be too demanding, maybe a drop-down armrest, but that's being picky. What I would have liked though is a rear AC vent, though you do get this rear power outlet, and a plumper seat cushion, somewhat like what you have on the Ciaz for instance. Just would have been nicer on longer drives, but otherwise full marks on the cabin. The Baleno has a very smartly designed and sexy looking instrument cluster. It's highlighted with a blue arc on top. The dials are simple but very sharp, and in the top trims you get a TFT information display screen at the center. Now this 4.2-inch screen gives you trip information like distance, time taken, mileage, etc., and also has real-time mileage, distance to empty, an analog type clock display, outside temperature, gear change indicator, and this, a real-time torque and power output display. Yes, it's a gimmick, but boy, it works. Lower variants don't get the TFT screen, but do have a digital display unit with the usual trip computer information. The infotainment touch screen is a carryover from the S-Cross and works quite well. It offers navigation, a media player, and also responds to a few limited voice commands and touch inputs. It works well, but it could have been better with shortcut keys, as you have to keep coming back to the main menu to navigate to different parts of it. An Indian industry first is the much hyped Apple CarPlay system, a big USP for the Baleno. I'm not sure it's a huge incentive to buy a Baleno though, considering how many people use Android phones in India versus Apple, right? Even so, it's a cool new addition for sure, and I did use Siri a lot during my drive.
Play a song by Maroon 5.
Okay, Maroon 5 coming up.
The top trim also gives you keyless entry, reverse camera, a tilt and telescopic steering, and a start-stop button. The diesel unit is the pick of the pack for me. I was reminded of what a revelation the Swift diesel had been when it first arrived. I'll never forget that first drive, and even though the Baleno isn't quite as sporty, it gets close. And yes, that is pretty much the same engine too. Maruti could have opted for the 90 bhp version of this 1.3-litre engine, but it stayed with 74 bhp for the higher mileage figure, a superb 27.39 kilometers per litre. The diesel Baleno feels planted and is fun to drive, with a sporty handling manner. The steering and suspension have been well worked out, giving the car a mature feel. Ride quality is pretty good, front and back, with the suspension being tuned for comfort, but yet taut enough to throw this car around a bit. You get a tremendous amount of torque. The delivery of that torque is absolutely sublime, and what's more, it's available to you as low as 2000 RPM, the peak torque, and so drivability becomes so much more fun. And the beauty of it is that you get a nice satisfying feel without too many gear changes in city traffic, and on the highway the car really sort of comes alive. It's got a very different character to the petrol. It feels more planted as well, and overall from a handling, drive, rideability, and even drive or ride feel point of view, totally love the diesel. It's the one in the pack that I wish also had a CVT. The diesel though puts out enough torque to easily accommodate a 6th gear, but let's get to the variant that does have the CVT option. The familiar 1.2-litre K-Series engine is well suited to the car. It's powerful enough too, and yes, comes with both options, the 5-speed manual or the CVT, both of which offer 21.4 kilometers to the litre. I did drive both versions, and I have to say the manual is way more fun. The car responds better and quicker, while the CVT is sluggish by comparison. So here's the thing with the CVT. It's a very pleasant car to drive, and that might sound like I'm trying to be a little bit sarcastic, but I'm not, because the whole idea is that the buyer profile for a car like the Baleno, or in this segment, is a city buyer. This is the kind of convenient option you require in the city, and it's that one big chink in the i20's armor as well. You do need to have that credible automatic option. The Jazz has it, now the Baleno has it, so which means that of course at some point they will have to bring in an automatic. The downside? Well, I might want to buy a CVT and I might still want all the bells and whistles, but Maruti has decided that it will play the price card on CVT, and so which is why you only get it on the Delta variant, which is the second from the bottom of the total 4 variants. Now
I totally get that Maruti and a lot of car makers want to democratize the use of automatic, and so which is why it's not being launched on the top variant anymore, which attracts a lot of buyers with a better price. But what if I want to get the CVT and I want to pamper myself with all the bells and whistles? Well, I can't, and that is unfortunate. The good news though is that all variants have safety, all the features as standard.
Yep, Maruti has impressed me by making safety standard on the Baleno. Dual airbags, ABS and seat belts with pretensioners are standard. The Baleno also throws in a bit more on the higher trims with fog lights, auto headlamps, parking sensors, etc. But offering what I see as basic safety features as standard is a coup in this segment. Maruti needs the Baleno to be a big hit, especially for the sake of its Nexa dealer network. And so I think it needs to undercut the best-selling i20 and blow the competition out of the water. My gut tells me that you can expect very aggressive prices, with the petrol likely starting at 5,20,000 and the diesel at 6,25,000 rupees ex-showroom. And maybe Maruti could go even more aggressive than that. And so we possibly have a Baleno blockbuster coming soon.
So that's the Baleno. Lots for you to react to there. There's lots of variants. There's that CVT. And the prices for all of that will be known on the 26th of October when Maruti does the official market launch. The bookings have already opened. I can't wait to see where Maruti goes with the prices. Alright, so you got to react to that car, of course. But now let's talk about how we're going to be doing some of that celebrating with you. That's something we've always valued. We like to interact with you. We like to have your inputs. And we like for you to celebrate with us. So as we cross the 600 episode milestone, here's what we're going to do. Now the vision concept became the BMW i8, which of course launched in our market this year. So here's what we're going to do. Join us for what's going to be a very special event where you get really close to the i8. And we have quite a lot planned out for you that day. Here are the details on how you can get yourself a chance to join me.
A special day with a special car. Your chance to get up close and personal with the i8. Just tell me where I drove the i8 when I reviewed it on CNB. All you have to do is tweet your answer with the CNB hashtag to me at Sid Partankar or post it on facebook.com/CNBshow.
So do enter that contest. I look forward to meeting with those of you who make it here as the lucky winners. Let's take a very short break here on CNB. We are back with the Mahindra Mojo. Welcome back to the new look CNB on the NDTV network. Now let's talk about the Mahindra Mojo. So much has been already said about this bike because it's been, well, talked about for a long time. It's been delayed, hasn't it? But in this case, I can tell you that the delay has been a good thing because it means that Mahindra really went back to the drawing board, started from scratch in many senses, and has come back with a really sharp product. Bala had the chance to ride the bike a few days ago. Here's what we think of it.
Mahindra Mojo is finally here. Bike comes to the market after years of re-engineering, but the good news for Mahindra is that despite the delays, the bike has retained tremendous interest. But that also means higher expectations. And so we went into this ride hoping the bikes really got enough to get one's mojo running.
It isn't a very tall bike, but easy riding position, but still fairly aggressive like a street bike. And you've got a sculpted seat, and that means that you have some support for your back, especially useful on long journeys.
The rear seat narrows out into the tail and the LED brake lamps are sharp. Most of the switchgear has a good feel to it and all within reach from the handle. The analog tachometer and the digital display alongside are easy to read even in bright sunshine though. Our ride was from Bangalore to Hassan and saw mostly highway roads, which really is where the Mojo's touring capabilities came to the fore. The 300cc liquid-cooled engine is extremely refined, almost surprisingly so, and the bike retains its composure even if you push it on the open road. No vibrations or strain. The peak torque of 30 Nm kicks in at 4,500 RPM to 6,700 RPM and gives the Mojo strong mid-range acceleration. The 6-speed gearbox is quick and responsive at higher speeds, but at low city speeds, it doesn't downshift as smoothly.
Yeah, that's how the Mojo exhaust sounds as you turn on the ignition, and that nice little grumble continues even as you're out on the open highway at higher speeds. It isn't too loud or intrusive, it feels nice to hear as you ride along. But the engine itself feels very refined. Even as you push the bike at higher speeds, the engine doesn't get too uncomfortable. It's nice, stays extremely steady and doesn't feel strained at all.
The Mojo feels stable at high straight line speeds with the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2 tires ensuring solid grip and the chassis keeping things steady without vibrations. The massive 320mm front disc brake does add to the confidence with ideal progressive response as you hit it. No ABS for now, but Mahindra has indicated that the Mojo will get it soon enough. The Mojo delivers on its name, and Mahindra two-wheelers will be relieved that all those years of hard engineering work hasn't gone to waste. Mahindra has smartly priced the Mojo at 1.58 lakh rupees ex-showroom Delhi and have adopted a phased-out rollout in 4 cities including Mumbai, Pune, Delhi and Bengaluru. It's a bike that has surprised us all with its character of being a reliable sports tourer and promises to get the Mojo going for Mahindra two-wheelers. The good price will also ensure it gets a great head start over the Bajaj Pulsar CS400 that arrives next year.
The Mahindra Mojo, ready to rumble. Now I'm going to talk about all the new programming that's coming your way in a new season on Auto Prime. First up, it's got to be the Great Overland Adventure, the GLA adventure that we've been talking about on social media for some time now. Some of you know this, the drive's already begun and we're in the middle of this massive around the world trek. Well, the programming begins this week, so starting Tuesday you can get a chance to check out the new show, and we did something really special and historic by debuting the show on a big screen, a little glimpse of that premiere event and also all the other new programming that's coming your way, including a show that has this wonderful orange Honda Jazz, another show which is familiar to you, a new season of The Getaway.
It's one of the most exquisite cinema experiences in the capital. But a selected few were in for a screening far from what changes screens on the wall here.
In a first for Indian television, we're going to debut our show on the big screen. And in a few moments, these seats are going to fill up and a privileged few will get to see the Great Overland Adventure unfold.
And soon, the Lazy Boy seats were filled up with an audience ready for an adventure that would be anything but lazy. As the lights dimmed to black, so did our camera due to the strict no filming inside the hall policy, but this is what they saw.
The Great Overland Adventure is not just a drive, a journey across continents. It's a collection of experiences, memories, pieces of a planet.
I was simply blown away. Actually, I didn't expect that. It was fantastic. I'm overwhelmed. I'm very jealous of the people who can take part in this. I would love to be there.
It's something that everybody would dream to be able to do. So if we can help take you along for the ride, that's the objective.
Who gets that opportunity to, have that as part of your memories, that you have actually taken these 2 cars and traveled around the world?
Well, save up,
get a car and go and do it yourself. It is doable.
60,000 kilometers, 6 continents, 6 drivers and 2 cars. It is going to be magnificent. You can watch it all every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. on NDTV Prime. That's the Great Overland Adventure.
Starting next week on NDTV Prime. Get ready for a weekly getaway to drive to. A few innovative tasks to do along the drive and a never seen before global adventure that gives a road trip a whole new definition. On your screens every Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday.
So please do tune in to all of that new programming. I'd love to have your thoughts on what you think about those shows. Do you like them? Would you like to see something more on them? Please keep that feedback coming. And as always, I will request you to wear your helmets if you're on a two-wheeler, a seat belt if you are in a car in any of the seats. And with that, I will say goodbye. Do react also to how you like the new look of CNB.